There we go.
Yay!
Yay, we're live.
Yay!
Hello. This is my channel. I'm Cassie from MissSassyKassie. I have blue hair now. It hasn't been shown on
That
the.
looks awesome.
Thank you. It hasn't been shown on the channel yet, but if you guys watch me on any of my other social media, you've seen it. And then this is the live show for Empire of Storms, which is the 5th book in the Sarah J. Maas Throne of Glass series. So we might do like some vague spoiler-free stuff at the very, very beginning, but overall this will be a spoilery content stuff. And take it away, Brittni. Introduce yourself.
Oh, I was commenting to the watchers, but I am here now. Hello, I'm Brittni from Brittni's Book Find. And okay, so it's funny we're starting with me, but I technically haven't finished. We'll just rip the Band-Aid off, so I'm about halfway. But I've read this before, and this has always been my favorite in the series. And I remember when I last read this book, I put it down and I finished even like Kingdom of Ash after that and everything. And I was like, this is my favorite book of like all time. That was the last time I read it, like all time. So even though I haven't finished it, I know it's a 5-star. Like I just know that in my soul and my heart. And what I've read so far, just like, there's just like something about this book that like I feel like everything just happens. Like all the characters are kind of coming together, that like everything's starting to actually move forward and everything that was built up. And I just really enjoy this book. So I give it 5 stars, even though I haven't finished, but it's my favorite book in this series. And I will confirm that when we're done Kingdom of Ash, just in case it changes. But as of right now, it's my favorite.
Yay. Paula?
Oh, okay. I'm Paula from Fandom and Books. This is a reread for me as well. I originally gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So much stuff happens in this book. It is absolutely insane. It took me I finished it about 8:30 this evening. If you're confused, I'm in England and the time zones are all scurvy, so it's like 10 to 2 in the morning for me right now. But yay, I finished the book. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars this time. I still really enjoyed it, and it is my favorite out of the books that we've read so far. I only have read Tower of Dawn. I haven't read Kingdom of Ash yet, so I don't know. So we'll see how we go with that.
Yeah. Jackie?
Hi guys, I'm Jackie. My channel is The Evil Queen Books. This is a reread for me as well. And I haven't finished the book either. I'm actually only about 100 pages in because NaNoWriMo, we'll just put it that way. But I would say this and Tower of Dawn, as of right now, until we get to Kingdom of Ash, are my 2 favorite books in the series. And as of right now, it's standing about a 4.55 stars. So I'll let you guys know in my wrap up if that's actually the case. It probably will go up to a 5 at this point, though. So
Nice.
Yeah, love it.
Before we move on, I do want to say to everyone watching that if you guys have questions for us to answer about the series in general or this book in particular or anything like that, please use the comments. Make sure to hit the live chat. It should probably say top chat at the moment, but if you change it to live chat, you'll be able to see everyone's comments. And then we can ask or answer any questions that you guys have along with what we are going to be talking about. Yeah, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This one's my favorite of the whole series. I think still, although obviously we haven't done the reread of Tower of Dawn or Kingdom of Ash, but like this book really stands out in my mind as like very clearly like, oh, I started this book and I knew where it was going to end and I remembered everything in between the second I started rereading it, whereas the other books so far have really blended together. And like I can always remember, is this the book that this happens in, or like what? Whereas this one, it was like, oh, I know which one I'm reading right now.
Why do you guys think that is? Like, because I know, like, I experienced that too, and even like rereading the first books before this one, I was like, I forgot this happened. I forgot that happened. But this one, I was like, I remember that. I remember that. Like, I wonder why we had that experience with this book versus the other.
I think the first 2 are so different because I mean it's like The third one is where it all starts getting interesting and all the Fae stuff comes into play. And I think that and Queen of Shadows kind of merge together because it is just so much information in that amount of time. But I think with when we actually get to Empire of Storms, we actually have a decent grasp on who the major players are and what's going on. And then obviously the major plot points that happen in this are the ones that did make you go, ooh, okay, righty ho then. Next. Whereas the other books, you kind of like, huh? What? Huh? Okay, let's roll with it. And I think that's why. Well, that's my case anyway. Don't know about
it makes sense. It's like answering so many different areas that were just like built up between all the different characters, and then this time it was like, oh, this is where they are, this is where they're going, this is where they are, this is where they're going. Kind of mentality.
I think the case for me is I think I mentioned this in previous live shows. I read the first 5 books up till Empire of Storms and the Assassin's Blade within the span of like 2 weeks. I was addicted. So up until this past year, like I had forgotten a lot of stuff what happened in the previous 4 novels. And Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, both just I remember the most of these 2 novels because those are the ones I've read most recently. So I don't know. I learn more and more as I reread the series over and over again.
That is the truth. I also found with like this, I'm trying to think, but I also found with this book, there weren't like any chapters that I was like, oh, I don't want to listen, like hear their perspective. Like I enjoyed all of them. Like I like even Lorcan. And the lead, like even that, I was like, oh my god, I love their chapters, and like all of them.
I can tell you why. Because Kale isn't in this book.
Oh yeah. You know what? That's probably accurate because I think it was it last live show that we were like, oh, I just didn't want to.
Yeah, I think it was Winter Shadows.
Yeah.
But isn't Kale somebody's favorite in this live show? No, all of us agree that we don't like Kale.
No.
Right. Up until Tower of Dawn, then that kind of changed for me, but we'll talk
about
that later.
Tower of Dawn, I'm really interested to see how I'll feel in this next coming live show, which will be for Tower of Dawn, because I remember dreading having to read that book. I like did not want to do it, but then once I did, I was like, oh shit, I like it.
I'm even like right now, I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm actually thinking about the next one, but won't go into anything, but like it's just the first like 300 pages, like majority of the book, I'm like, I'm not really excited for, but the ending I'm like really excited for.
That was the case for me, Brittany. That was definitely the case. It was like a 3-star for the longest time, and then the ending happened. But we'll talk about that next month.
Exactly.
I've completely forgotten what happened in Tower of Dawn, so it's gonna be another surprise for me.
Yeah, that's exciting to me. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
I'll just be there tweeting in the chat, going like, "Oh my god!"
Yes, I'm so ready.
I am.
So, what was everyone's favorite perspective? Since we're on perspectives, if we had to pick one,
I would say either Lorcan in the lead or always Manon. Like with Manon always, but like I always answer with that. But I would say I really enjoyed Lorcan and Elise, and Kylie, like even said, like he's her fave. And I remember the first time I read it, I didn't really connect to him. I didn't really care. But this time around, I really enjoyed his character.
Yeah, I really, really liked Lorcan and Elite, and I liked how grown up Elite actually became in this. She was definitely like, I'm doing it for myself. I'm taking care of my own destiny, being all the sassiest of the sassy, and I loved it until the very end when she kind of turned into a little whimpering wench again. But situation, I guess.
I feel like mine is Well, does Lysandra have a perspective?
Well, with
Not really.
Yeah.
She turns
Yeah.
up quite a bit in Adian's chapters. Well, Adian's
Yeah, like
perspective.
I guess my favorite perspective is I can't even say that. I was gonna say I guess my favorite perspective is Adian because you get the most Lysandra in those chapters. But then again, I freaking hate his perspective because he's always so down on Aylin's choices, and I'm like, could you get your shit together, please?
Goes back to bite him in the ass at the end, though.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, so
I don't know.
speaking of something, okay, this is something that I haven't read yet, but I was watching, I think she hasn't done a video in a while. Sophie Reads, I love her, I wish she'd come back. But she was saying something with Adian that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that he was tricked in being her cousin or something, and he's really pissed off because he needs to he's not the king. Like something with the mate, like Rowan was tricked in that he was the mate with Lyra, and then I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if this is a thing. So I'm trying to get what she said.
No, Rowan was tricked by Maeve to fall in love with his previous person that he was with, and then Maeve had them killed because she didn't want Rowan to find out that Aelin was actually his mate. But the whole
Maeve knew that they were a powerhouse and that they have some stuff written in the stars of the power that they could hold together if they had known. And then, but I think what you're talking about with Adian is that
Adian,
yeah. So traditionally in Terrasen, the queen only takes one blood oath, and she gave it to Rowan, even though it was Adian's like blood right sort of a thing. Like it was supposed to be to hit for him. And Aelin basically says, just because that's always the way it's been doesn't mean I have to continue that thing. Like, you can take the blood oath too.
Right. Okay. I don't know if it was like a confused thing, but I was like, did something happen where they're not cousins? I'm confused. So maybe it was.
I'm pretty sure they're cousins.
Okay.
But there also has been, like, they talk about, like, before Terrasen fell and everything, they do talk about how, like, there were conversations happening about Adian being betrothed to Aelin, but they hadn't made that decision for sure yet.
Because that happened when they were like kids. Their parents wanted them to marry or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was kind of a sidetrack. But I will say, I think Adian's my least favorite to read about, though.
I'm just replying to Kylie in the comments, but I'll say it right now. I think Adian's only like redeeming quality, to be fair, is the flirting and the love he has for Lysandra. That's like, you know, slowly showing itself. I think that's one of his major redeeming qualities for me, to be fair.
I agree. I think he's kind of annoying. I think, like, he just second guesses Aelin so much that I'm like, what? Like, how do you have this, like, oh, she's my queen and I deserve stuff, but then at the same time you, like, don't trust her to make the decisions? I feel like really what it is that he wants to be making the decisions, and he's like a man. He's being a little boy about it.
Yeah, but can we just talk about how many like kick-ass, badass females that this series has? It's like pretty much every single woman in it is just a badass.
Yeah, like and I really love that Sarah J. Maas shows strength in female characters in different ways, because especially a lead, because like Manon and Aelin and even Lysandra's also interesting because of her history and like her strength within that story and stuff. But all three of them, especially in this book, they're all badass fighters, and Lysandra's using her gifts to do shit and whatever. But a lead is still strong, even though she has like a bad ankle and she can't fight. and she's never been outside of her tower before, but she's just
Yeah.
so smart and cunning
Mhm.
and
I feel like
badass.
she's like courageous.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, even though how she can't read, but yet she managed to kind of like fake a way through, like, you know, being a psychic reader or whatever when they were in the like traveling troupe. I thought that was pretty badass too.
Yeah, I love Elide so much. I think that Elide might be my favorite character, actually. The more I think about it, the more I get like deep down into my feelings. I'm like, dang, she's really cool.
Yeah.
It's Elide, Abraxas, or Lysandra for me. Because Abraxas is pretty much. It's like every time he's like, "Where?" I was like, "Where's Abraxas? Where's Abraxas?" And then I was like, then he turns up, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I love you so much."
Yeah, Abraxas is pretty cool.
I find it funny that like none of us, our favorite character is Aelin. Like none. It's like, oh, it's someone else, which is kind of cool. Like,
I mean, I love Aelin. Don't get me wrong, but
same.
I think for me at least, what it is that I relate to Elide much more than I relate to Aelin because I'm not like a badass in the way that Aelin is. Like, I don't know.
See, and I feel like I relate a lot to Manon and Aelin more than I do Elide and Lysandra. Like, I feel like I'm just more that personality. So I think I really connected them, but I do just really love them all. Like, there isn't like anyone in this whole story that I'm like, ugh, I don't enjoy them. Like, even reading like about Maeve, like I love her as a villain. I hate her, but
she's a great villain.
Yes. She kind of reminds me of like Lavanna from like Belina Chronicles, but like just like that kind of, I don't know, same demeanor, and I love her.
Yeah, I can see that, Brittni.
Yeah, right? Any other questions that you guys need to get off your chest?
Not so much questions that need to get off my chest, but obviously this book is by far the sexiest.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So whose sex scene was the most likable for you guys? Which sex scene were you just like, yes, I like this?
Okay, so it was fascinating reading this book a second time after reading the whole series, because when I first read this book and I hadn't read anything else past it, I loved the chemistry between Manon and Dorian. But now, rereading it after reading the entire series, I completely disagree. I think they're totally bad for each other. They're like deep down in some serious PTSD and like different mental health problems, and they need to be far, far away from each other in order to heal. And it's not happening. So that's what
I agree, Cassie.
Well, Dorian straight up states the fact that he's just like, yeah, I just need someone that's not breakable.
I was like, oh baby, get away from everyone. Heal your heart first. Get some therapy. I don't know. But I really loved the sex scene between Aelin and Rowan on the beach. And then I also really love Lorcan and Elide have that, like, it's not sex.
It's not sex. They have the smoochy times, and then everything goes batshit crazy with the Ilkin. But yeah, that was like, finally!
Yes.
Finally!
It just gave me a lot of hot and bothered feelings.
I love a good slow burn. I like, for me, I didn't really get to those scenes yet, but it's funny because the only two scenes that I remember are the beach and Manon and Dorian. But I would have to say that just right now, the beach scene, just because it's the only one like that I remember from the first time around. But I know that I'm gonna love Elide and Lorcan because it is like that one that you're just like waiting for, and you're like, when? Okay, almost. Nope. Okay, and then it happens. You're like, yeah. So yeah, that's my answer.
Jackie?
I don't know what my favorite would be. I think I agree with Brittni. I love the scene between Aelin and Rowan on the beach because that's the most memorable one for me from this entire book. And I also I enjoyed the Dorian and Manon scene, even though I don't ship them at all, but I enjoyed it. So I guess those two, along with Brittni, would be my favorites out of the entire one.
Yeah.
I was really hoping, I mean, I know this is a reread for me, so I know it didn't happen, but I think with all of the sex, you know, it's like, it must have been like a magical boat or something, or Eelway is just magical in the sense that, like, you know, everyone gets horny in Eelway.
It's just like Cupid.
Yeah, it's just like, everyone's just like, let's go. I really, really wish that we would have got some Adian and Lysandra, like, you know, a little bit more with them, but I understand why we didn't, and it's one of those where it's like, I like that it didn't happen, but I'm also just like, I need it to happen.
Yeah. For some reason, I really like them together, even though I really don't like Adian. I think what it is that Lysandra brings out the good in him, and also she keeps him in line. Like, she's really the one who's like, you're being a dumbass. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you being so mean and so judgmental or whatever it is? And she really, like, holds him accountable. But at the same time, they have this, like, I don't know. I really like them. I think that's my favorite ship.
Yeah.
Of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like going into this now, like your favorite ship. Like honestly, I would have to say after this book, it's Elite and Lorcan right now. Like I don't know. Like
my favorite too. It's like Elite and Larkin and Adian and Lysandra. I shipped Rowan so hard when he came in Heir of Fire. I was just like, yes, get away from Dorian, get away from Chaol. This is who you need to be with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you just go like this, Cassie?
Bad with some bad.
So bad. Oh my gosh. Oh, totally. And I honestly, I feel like all of them work except for Manon and Dorian.
Yeah, definitely.
I still love the sexual tension between those two.
Yeah. No, I do too. But like for shipping them together. No.
No.
Big Brown, no.
No. Maybe one day when they've all healed. But like right now, no.
Yeah, I don't ship it as a relationship. I ship it for, like, you know, the hardcore use and abuse kind of sexy tension kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you can ship.
Yeah.
So I have a really hard question to answer.
Okay.
Do any of you have a favorite scene from this book?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Lysandra being a sea dragon and fighting all of the sea wyverns. It's like the most stressful scene I've ever experienced. Still,
Yes.
I was like, that one.
Yeah, that's definitely like one of my tops. Another one, my favorite is Manon, just like with her grandmother and just, like. Can we like talk about that? Sorry, you want
to, but like let's talk about that
because
let's talk.
I was just thinking about it.
I knew it was going to happen, but I honestly forgot it happened in that way. Like for some reason, I thought she killed her grandma like instantly, and then it was just like this grandmother. It was just like this battle of like her running away, and then had the 13 and like all the things. I don't know. It was just so stressful.
Yep.
And you like don't know if the 13 are okay for so long.
Yeah. And all the bombs that a grandmother drops about like her being the Kraken princess, and that she ended up killing her half sister. I was just like, oh my god, you are such a bitch.
Yeah, like the first time I read that scene was really just so much information and stress.
Oh, so good. And that was that when Manon like fell and she was like injured and Abraxos was like helping
that was
it. And I was like,
yeah, she like her grandmother like clawed her gut, and so she's like trying to heal, but like can't. It's like too big of a wound. Thank you. And then she drops down, and she's trying to find water, and then that thing comes. I can't remember what it's called, but that like monster comes and tells her that all of her 13 are dead.
Or like the bounty hunter, blood hunter thing.
Oh yeah, the
that's right.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what.
I forgot about that. That's one thing I forgot. Like that part.
I'm so confused as to why Erewhon is needing Manan and a lead so much, because it's like that's two questions that aren't really answered.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it has nothing to do with Erewhon with a lead. That has to do with her uncle. Yeah, Vernon. And Vernon is important enough that Erewhon is willing to help him get back what he wants. And he wants a lead. He wants a lead because she is the true heir to like what he has in Paranth, which so there's that. And then also he's just like a controlling piece of shit. There's that.
The truth. I'm so annoyed that he got away.
I know.
I'm so ready for him to die. And then I mean
truth.
And then for Manon, I feel like it's kind of maybe both. I don't know if Erewhon knows everything, because I know that her grandmother wants her because she knows that she's really important and could potentially make an alliance between the Crokins and the not blue buds, Blackbeaks. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, and so I don't know if Erewhon knows that she's that important, or if he's just letting his important person, the grandmother, like try to get what she wants. I don't know which part of that it is.
Right.
Okay.
That's how I'm perceiving it, at least. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know the answer. That sounds legit to me.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If somebody wants to correct me, feel free.
I have to say, I'm so ready for Manan to just go and just snatch her grandmother's wig off. I'm like, it needs to happen. She needs to scalp her so badly.
At that scene, we can't talk about it yet. We can't do spoilers for later books yet.
No, because I haven't read them.
Oh,
we both have it.
There is a scene that happens in Kingdom of Ash that is the best scene in the entire series. It is so stressful and painful, and then it ends so good and so painful and bad and good and horrible all at the same time.
Will you stop teasing me?
Hey, you and me both, Paula. I
know, right?
Either.
I'm like trying to think about it. I have tears.
Breathe, Cassie, breathe.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. I've got an entire book of Kale to get through.
You've got an entire book of Kale to get through before you can get to the best scene. I read it. I was listening to it on audiobook. I listened to Kingdom of Ash the first time, and I was on my way to visit Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, and she doesn't read fantasy. She reads contemporary. And I got to her house, and I had just finished that scene, and I was like crying in the car.
Oh my God.
And I was like, please excuse me.
Like, what the heck? Oh my God.
It was so much.
I know, but I'm sure you just kind of like, I have all these book feelings that I need to get out. And I'm sure Chelsea would have just been like, okay, lay it on me.
Yeah, she basically let me spoil her for everything, because like, when is she ever going to read that book? Never.
Yeah. I love Chelsea, and I would probably do the same thing.
Oh my God. Cassie, I can't remember what the fucking scene you're talking about. You're gonna have to
talk about it later. Talk about it later.
Later.
Okay, so that was my favorite scene. Paula, what about you?
There's so many.
That's why I love this book. It's just consistent of like, yes, no, yes.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I think I liked it. One of my favorite scenes, the one I liked, was kind of like when Ansel turned up.
Oh yeah.
with the ships and everything, and she was just like, yeah. Because I mean, when we read The Assassin's Blade, that was one of my favorite stories. So I really, really like that we got the Ansel shows up. So
That's a good scene.
Sorry, Cassie.
She couldn't remember the scene, and then I texted her, and she went, "Oh, oh,
guys, stop."
okay, sorry."
I
I can't wait to get there. Oh my gosh.
can't wait either. I want to read it right now. I want to even read Tower of Dawn.
No, okay, honestly, I will say for those of you watching and for all of us here who haven't read Tower of Dawn yet, Tower of Dawn is good. Like, it is better than you'll ever expect because you think it's going to be boring. And there are some pretty fucking cool badass ladies in that book too. Kale is annoying.
Yeah.
Who's surprised? But there are other people who matter.
It surprised me.
See, Kylie's like, Tower of Dawn is not that bad. Irene makes up for him.
Yeah.
So true.
But I think it's another reason why I dislike Tower of Dawn. I mean, Tower of Dawn is good, but I think it was more of a case of how Empire of Storm ends. And then we were supposed to be getting Kingdom of Ash, and then it wasn't we didn't get Kingdom of Ash, we got Tower of Dawn instead. And then Kingdom of Ash, I was just like, no, I don't give a shit about Chaos. I want to know what happens after the conclusion of this book.
That was me.
Jackie, did you talk about your favorite scene yet? Because I
didn't. I guess kind of going off what Paula just said, my favorite scene in this entire book, and it's probably because it was the thing I remember the most about it, is actually the ending. And I think a big part of it is the scene with Rowan after the whole thing with Aelin happens and she's taken away. And he says it's his wife. Like, for some reason that any scene like that has a soft place in my heart, and like it made me cry. If I'm being honest, I'm like, oh my god, don't do that to me, Sarah, please don't. And then I just wanted Kingdom of Ash right away, like Paula said. I'm like, give me it now, please give me.
Yes, I 100% agree. The ending of this book, which is where I wanted to go, so I'm so glad that you brought this up because. It's so intense.
I remember it, so thank God. Like, if it stuck with me that long, I'm good to talk about it now.
I love how Brittany's just got comfy. She's just quoting the book. She's like, this is my baby.
My favorite book of all time for a reason.
I'm like, ow, my heart.
Someone start talking about it, though, so I can refresh my memory, but I pretty much remember. What do you like to discuss about my baby?
Well, how they got married in secret, and it was just like, I love the fact that well, to be fair, in my notes I said that that I wrote down that it's really surprising how much Aelin's character has grown from when she was Selena and just like, I'm the best thing ever. But now she's actually thinking about things, and she is really like thinking 12 steps ahead of everything. I mean, calling in all the favors, getting everyone on her side, the steps to make sure that, well, she knew that shit was going to go down. And so she ended up, I mean, she obviously loves Rowan, but she ended up marrying him to make sure that it had a king. And she had the talk with Lysandra, and Lysandra is going to take her place. Because obviously Aelin thought she was going to be dead, but Maeve has just locked her in an iron coffin. What the fuck's all that about? Good stuff.
Okay, there's so okay, and isn't this just remind me, isn't this when Manon and Aelin go back into the past?
Yeah,
and they see the truth, and then Aelin is literally known the whole time that she's literally just has to die, and that was all part of the end too, right?
Yeah. And now she ended up giving Aelin gave the word keys to Aelin gave the word keys to Manan, and she's ended up giving them to Dorian because Dorian is also part of their bloodline. So
Sorry.
I'm so excited, my lungs can't expand.
Isn't it crazy that just thinking about it, that she gave the keys to Manon, like she just trusts, like it's just so weird that she just like trusts her instantly, like it's just out of character, but in character.
Mhm.
Like just gave it to Manon, and now she's like kind of part of the crew and hands it to Dorian. And sorry, continue.
No, it's well, she does owe Aelin like 2 life debts, so
You know.
swings and roundabouts. But yeah, thinking about them being of the same bloodline, and then thinking back to the first book, just kind of I need to shower. At least they didn't actually have sex.
Okay, but also, like, if we're talking about betrothals between Adian and Aelin, they are far more closely related than Dorian and Aelin.
Right.
True, but you know, it's different with Faye.
Is it?
Oh my god, I just was like, Faye.
It's different with Faye. It's kind of like the royal family. It's all incestuous and sick and wrong.
So it's fine that way.
No, none of it is fine, but you know, it's just the way it works.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Before, yes, Kylie, I know.
No.
She's just like, no, Paula, no.
I love how it's just popping up on the thing. I feel like so much went down in that end scene, and then they put her in the coffin, and then take her away. That's what ended, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, and then after that is when we find out that Lysandra was in on, like, becoming Aelin and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
sorry, I need to interject when Aelin realized that she was gonna die and she ended up throwing up, and she was like, I need Lysandra. Did anyone, the first time reading it, did anyone kind of go, is she pregnant?
Oh,
I did.
well, I don't think I did. I don't think that even crossed my mind. Even though there was some foreshadowing of that, because she has that conversation with Rowan about how, like, she's not going to be on any sort of birth control or whatever, because from what she understands, Faye can have a hard time conceiving, and she doesn't want to risk, like, losing the only opportunity she has to make an heir for Terrason, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that would have been a cool foreshadowing moment.
Well, technically, she could still be pregnant. We just don't know. It was just covered up by the fact of that she was really, really shocked.
We know all things.
Oh, yeah, you know things.
You guys.
Sorry.
Thing.
I'm like, no.
That's right. Destroy my dreams.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that, like, not everyone has read all of it. We're getting to that point where
You're good, guys. Don't worry.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So literally what we have uncovered here is the whole book is our favorite scene.
Yeah, basically.
Like, because do any of you have a scene that you're like, like you're like, eh.
I don't think so.
I mean, there's like scenes that bad things happen in, but like
they're still good scenes.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is probably so dumb, but the Ilkin, who the hell are they? Like, I don't know why. I'm like, who are they? They're just like, are they just?
They're there's some of the creatures that Erewhon was making in the mountain.
Oh, yeah. The ones with the witches?
No,
they got burnt up. But he was making other things in different places. It's basically I don't know, Volg light. I don't know.
Okay, that's what it is. Volg light.
It's like basically another, because like the wyverns were also made by Erewhon.
Right.
So he was making wyverns at this mountain, and then at the other mountain he was making other things, and one of those things that he made was also the Ilkin.
So he's literally Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that was like I knew they were creatures, but I was like, where the hell did they come from?
I forgot too, Brittany. You're not the only one.
Okay, I was like, am I the only one that like? Is this like a known fact? Like I was confused.
Mm.
I'm just seeing what Kylie is saying. If there's anything. Oh yeah, she thought she was pregnant. Prego too.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I love when we get the reveal of something sneaky Aelin did, like at the very end when she's gone and the guys from the desert show up, and also the girl from the story. I forgot her name. Oh yeah, when the like Assassin's Blade kind of like came.
Oh
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Mhm.
So it was the girl was what Mela starts with an M.
Oh, was
Mala?
it?
No.
No, the one that in Assassin's Blade, I think this is the girl where she was like, you get so much time and I'm going to shoot the arrow.
Oh, isn't that?
That's Anthel.
Yeah, that's Anthel.
Oh. Maybe that's who it was. I thought it started with an M. I forget.
No, but the guy's son from the desert also turned up. You know, the one that wouldn't speak.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like the assassins from the desert as well. They turned up. Who else was there? There was another group of people that turned up.
Oh,
She said, yes, that was her. She brought her people.
I've just totally forgotten.
Right? So she's like, all like life debts are like coming.
Yeah, all of them are just like, yep. Oh, well.
What do you guys think about Adian and his dad?
Well, the first meeting kind of didn't go the way that anybody expected. Let's be realsies. But to be fair, can't fault the guy.
What fault the guy?
I can't fault Adian for being so just harsh about everything, because I mean it makes complete sense. But I am glad that throughout this story there was a little bit of water. He kind of defrosted a little bit towards Gabrielle.
Mm-hmm.
Also, can I just say that Gabrielle and Fenris are two of the funniest people in this entire book.
I agree. They're hilarious.
I have so many like little funny like outlinings, like the color that I use for annotating is just like all of them being funny.
Yeah. I think Fenris was definitely kind of like the Gimli and Legolas of this book. I think, yeah, it was definitely.
And doesn't Fenris in the end go with Aelin? Like he gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gets the blood oath gets destroyed, or she like releases
him.
him.
Gabrielle gets the. She releases Gabrielle and Larkin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Fenris is still with Maeve.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, no, I can't say what I want to say. Never mind.
No, don't say it. Good girl, Cassie. Good girl.
But Fenris.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of anything else you guys.
When we went into the past and we saw Nehemia and how that story played out, and the feels. All the feels.
Yeah. Doesn't you have to remind me, but doesn't she like tell her why it has to be Aelin or something, and she's like, I will do it or something?
Yeah, I mean, in the whole scene, it's a kind of Nehemia goes to the place where they kept the chest thing or whatever, and she speaks to Elena, like ghost Elena, thinking like Nehemia was the one that was supposed to be there, and Elena turns around and says, no, but you can go to this place and bring Dorian and Selena together and things like that, but you will never see Ilwe again. You kind of have to die to make sure that Aelin becomes who she needs to be.
And like poor Aelin is already feeling like guilty for her death, and then to be like, you have to do this for her.
I was just reading that, giving it cheers, Dumbledore. Raising a lamb to the slaughter. Thanks. You know.
Oh my god.
So
And to be fair, this is like, you know, everything's her fault anyway.
Yeah.
so intense.
Oh, there's not many boring bits in this book. Let's put it
No.
that way.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to think of like make sure I'm not like missing anything that I definitely will discuss, but
Can we discuss how kind of like amazing Lysandra is? Because I mean, even the battle with the sea battle, she kind of made herself indestructible by making her scales out of spider silk. I'm just like, holy crap, she's a badass.
Oh, I love Lysandra. That scene, I remember that scene, like, it's probably one of the main scenes I remember from, like, the whole series. Before even reading this. Like, it's just imprinted in my brain. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
I agree. That's the one scene that, like, I forgot how early it happens in the book.
I just finished reading it.
Yeah, for some reason, I think it's because it's the scene I remember the best, other than the very end where Aelin gets taken. But I thought that was the end scene, and then Aelin gets taken. In that, so like when it started happening, I was like, "Oh, whoa! Like this is in the middle of the book. Like, what are we doing?"
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, "Whoa, I must be almost done," and I'm like, "Oh no,
oh no,
no!" I'm like, "What else happens?" Because I remember this.
That reminds me, can we talk about how Rowan went and talked to all his cousins and they decided to band with him? And I was
emotional.
The Bane?
No, the Whitethorn.
Yeah, like, because Rowan Whitethorn is a prince, but then he, like, became part of the Bane with Maeve. So the Bane is, like, Gavriel and Fenris and Lorcan, but his cousins are all royalty and, like, have land and resources and stuff, and so all of his cousins are part of that armada, and he, like, flies to each one as his hawk form and, like, tries to convince them all to take Aelin's side instead of Maeve's, and none of them give him a straight answer, and then all of a sudden they just all
say, we'll think about it, and then they all decide at the same time to...
It's so good! I loved it so much. I'm so stressed just thinking about it.
But it's so good. I mean, that scene was just everything.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can't give this 5 stars. Like, the whole book is like just amazing. Like, I don't know. Like, there's just something.
It was originally 5 stars, but like I say, I've grown a lot since.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a critical reviewer. So it's one of those where it's like, yes, it is an amazing book, but I can't take that out of the whole series.
True. Yeah. Weird. I will say this. Like, I know Cassie said this too recently. I said this a long time ago when I first read this, that like this is my favorite series of all time, and it beats Harry Potter. Like, well, Harry Potter's never really been like. I read Harry Potter late, so I think that has an effect. Yeah, like I read Harry Potter for the first time when I was 24, maybe, like, you know, and so now like this gives me that feeling of what other people experienced. And I was probably, again, around like 25 at the time or something when I started this series, so it more like aligned with my reading taste. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I feel like people are so offended when like more than Harry Potter.
Yeah, I grew up in the Harry Potter world. Like, I read Harry Potter when I was 11, and I kind of grew up with the movies and the books, so it's very much like childhood nostalgia and love. And don't get me wrong, I freaking love those books, and I love the story, and I think that Harry Potter is such a part of my life that, like, I 100% believe that if it didn't exist, I'd be a different person. And so, like, in that sense, it's different than it just being my favorite series. So, like, Harry Potter is other things too. But if I'm
Right.
just looking at the reading part and the book part and stuff like that, I think I like this series more. I think it's a whole different story, but I like the writing and I like the story more. Even though for me, I grew up with Harry Potter, so it's always going to have a different part of my heart than anything else will ever have, because I grew up with it. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thinking about books that have, like, you know, meant something, and, like, you know, actually, like, not so much like my favorite series, but I think Twilight had a big impact on a lot of people. Whether it, I mean, we can all read it now and just be like, yeah, it's trash, but I mean, I still like Twilight. I have no shame in admitting it, because it got so many people into reading it, and sometimes you just need some trash in your life.
I feel like it's like that nostalgic, and what moved you into that. Like for me, what got me on BookTube and what brought me to this world and people like you, and like meeting Cassie in person, all that stuff. Whatever, that book that started that was Divergent.
Yeah.
Now you can say, like, if I didn't have that book, my whole experience would be completely different.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be here. So it's like that feeling versus like now when you're in the world and like, okay, now what books really speak to you? Like this one like speaks to me in the writing aspect, like Cassie kind of said.
But you've always had a thing for Fae and everything else. I mean, you really like the Iron Fae series, don't you?
Do. That's one of my favorite series of all time. That's so fun. I'd be curious if I reread that, what I think, but I've always, I love that series too.
I'm kind of in the mix with all you guys, because I read Harry Potter. I didn't grow up with it like Cassie did, but I read it. I think I was a freshman in high school, so this is like less than 10 years ago. And while it is right now my favorite series of all time, it's gonna get surpassed at some point. I know it. It's a lot of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
ACOTAR for me is like right there as far as surpassing it. I have a feeling once the series or the spinoff comes out sometime in the next couple of years, it probably will become number one for me, because I just connect so much with that series. And Throne of Glass is number 3, so it's like,
oh my God. I still haven't even finished ACOTAR yet.
My heart.
I haven't read the novella, but I don't include it as like.
Yeah, I haven't read the novella yet, and I don't particularly want to.
I think that knowing now that like the hype is over and people have said what they don't like about that novella, I think that I'm gonna like it, because I have the expectation of what it is rather than what it was sold as.
I was the same way, Cassie. I read it like I think a month and a half after it was released, and I was like, I gave it 4.5 stars. I mean, it is what it is, but I can definitely see the issues with it. It's not perfect.
And Kylie likes the novella, and we are talking about, what is it?
Frost and Starlight.
Frost and Starlight. Yeah.
And then she has the new one coming out.
Oh, Crescent City.
City
in January. I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited.
I'm sorry, but my favorite novella of all time is A Night of Cake and Puppets.
That one is amazing.
That's the best novella I've ever read. I'm sorry.
My favorite novella is The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner.
Back on the Twilight train.
Like, I swear to God, it's the best book in the whole Twilight series. It's so good. I love it so much. And
it's not as good as A Night of Cake and Puppets. I'm sorry.
But like, can you argue that it's not the best book in the Twilight series?
I cannot,
because it's so good.
I haven't read that, and I haven't read Daughter of Smoke Bone yet.
Okay, well, get out of here.
I DNF Strange the Dreamer. I'm sorry.
Okay, I read Strangely, I read all Days Daughter. Is it Daughter of Smoke Bone, right?
Yeah.
I read all of them, and I didn't really like any of them, and so.
Sorry.
Talk about my favorite
Triggered.
I know, I'm triggered. Talk about my favorite series. Actually, I think I like Daughter of Smoke Bone better than Throne of Glass.
Ooh.
Okay.
I really.
Is the fight on? Is the fight on?
Daughter of Smoke and Bone, I really enjoyed it, and then it kind of the third one kind of went nowhere. It kind of just it was like build up.
Are you talking about Daughter of Smoke and Bone?
Yes.
I can't. I'm gonna leave my own channel in a second.
You know what?
Strange the Dreamer was such a better one. I'm sorry.
I love Strange the Dreamer too. I love it so much. It's like it's so lyrical and magical, and I agree that I think the writing is better in Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. I think that I think I like the setting of Daughter of Smoke and Bone better than Strange the Dreamer. Like I like the mystical aspects. I like one of the things that most people don't like about Daughter of Smoke and Bone is that they start with one story and one setting, and then at some point in the story there is a very big switch, and you are suddenly in a different plot.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that's like.
Yeah, like that happens in these too, and that's what I really loved about it. And what I really love about this too is like it suddenly just turns on its head, and you can't even try making a fucking video trying to explain what the series of Daughter of Smoke and Bone is about. This is just as hard as these, because if you're trying to not spoil anyone, you can't start at Throne of Glass and finish anywhere else.
Well, like, I feel like when I think back to Daughter and Smoke and Bone, I just was so confused. Like, I was like, what is? I think I just need to reread it. And Cassie usually never have a different opinion.
Yeah, we're very similar.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need to read it. And I've never read Strange the Dreamer yet either. But I'm like, maybe I just need to reread it.
Why did you DNF Strange the Dreamer, Jackie?
So here's the tea, I guess you could say. I liked it. I really love the writing style. I think Laini Taylor has a really great writing style, and I am willing to give it another chance. The big thing for me is I like plot. I am a very plot-driven person, and that was the big issue I had with Strange the Dreamer. I think I got to 250 pages, and I just didn't care anymore. So I put it down. But again, I am willing to give it a second chance in the future. So we'll see.
For you, Jackie, I think you say you haven't read Daughter of Smoke and Bone, right?
Right.
You'll like Daughter of Smoke and Bone better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because that book is plot driven. I mean, it's character driven, but it's plot driven.
Until the third book.
Shut up. Don't even argue with me right now.
I love it.
Anyway, back to Empire of Stars. Yeah, we need to do our final thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, bits, parts, questions?
I still this is still my favorite, and I love it, and I will finish it soon. Final thought.
And me both, Brittni.
It is my favorite of the series so far. I don't have a physical copy of Tower of Dawn. I only have it on audio. So I can't switch. I can't be asked buying it. I don't know if I'm ever going to buy it physically. I just don't know if it's the thing I'm going to do. But yeah, I loved it, and I was so happy that who else? It begins with an A. Oh god, it's annoying. There's too many A names in this thing. There really is.
Aelin?
No,
Asterin.
Asterin. It's like she was a badass too, and I'm really, really happy that she didn't get beheaded.
I'm also glad.
Yes.
Kylie says no one mentioned Caltaine. Well, she died in the last one.
Oh, that's
but yeah, we did mention in the last live show that she was pretty much the unsung hero of Queen of Shadows, because she just annihilated everything.
I agree.
Jackie, Cassie.
All I can say is I need Kingdom of Ash just right now. I just need to read it already. I'm ready.
It's your first time, you guys.
It's our first time. We're never gonna get this again.
I know I'm gonna be prepared to cry because I have a feeling it's gonna make me cry.
Yeah, it will.
Not ready in that aspect. But
I'm not a
my-
book crier. Will it make me cry?
I feel like there is a specific scene that will make you cry. There's that one
Good
that
to
I was
know.
talking about earlier, but I won't say anything more. But it's intense.
Yep, there's only ever been one book that's made me cry. At least since I've been on BookTube. So
Me too.
What was it? I need to know.
it was Champion by Marie Lu, the last book in the Legend trilogy. I sawed my eyes out reading that.
Have you read Rebel yet?
No, I'm gonna reread the series, and I'm not emotionally prepared.
I have only cried once. It's the weirdest thing, and it's Daisy Jones in the Six.
Oh,
that
there's
one
another
has-
book I have an unpopular opinion on.
And that was audio. That was the audio. And I was driving home from a long trip. I was on a road trip, and it was audio that got me in the end.
The audio of that book is awesome. I love the audio book of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie, what book made you cry other than Kingdom?
All of them,
I'm so emotional.
dude. I cry at commercials. I cry
That's me. That is
listening
me.
to
Oh my god.
podcasts. Like,
Oh
you
my God.
can't ask me what book made you cry. Ask me which book didn't make me cry. I probably could give you a list if I thought about it hard enough. No, I cry so easily. The most recent one that made me cry really bad was The Last True Poets of the Sea. I just recently
everybody
read
said
that.
it's so good.
It is so good.
Oh,
And I was at work, sneaky peeky, reading an ebook when I should not have been. And then I was crying at work, and it was great.
Just casually crying at work.
right now.
Yeah, I was sitting in the office by myself. Like for those of you who are watching and don't know, I work at a residential treatment center, and so I was sitting in the office, and we had a client who was like sleeping in the back, so I have to be like nearby. But I was by myself. Everyone else was up in the front with the other clients. So I'm just sitting by myself, and then all of a sudden I get to this section of the book, and I start crying in the office, and then my coworker walks back, and she's like, "What happened? Are you okay? Like, is the client
I'm like,
okay?
"No."
Like, do you need help?" And I'm like, "I'm just reading a book. It's fine. Just don't
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I don't book cry, but the one that made me tear up, it was Harry Potter, and I knew it was going to happen, but it was Sirius's death.
Ooh.
That was. I was like, I got a little choked up.
My
Yep.
little Slytherin heart couldn't handle
I
that.
know. Same.
That's so funny. All right, so I guess the next thing is Tower. Cassie, you can go ahead, but I think Tower Dawn's going to be on my channel.
Yes. So make sure to subscribe to Brittni. She's linked down below, and she will be hosting Tower of Dawn's live show, which we don't have a live show date for it yet, and I'm gonna guess that it might be
Early December.
early December.
Wait, what is it now?
It's early November right now.
Yeah, 'cause we can't do end of December because that's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll look for an early December time for Tower of Dawn. Early to mid is what I would venture to guess, considering Brittany's still halfway through Emperor of Storms. Not trying to call you out or anything, but
I might,
Well,
I might,
Jackie's still halfway through too.
Yeah.
I might move to Tower Dawn and then back to this because it
oh,
really,
okay. Well, and these books happen in tandem, so that would
Yeah.
actually be pretty cool.
it might be
Mm.
cool. Yeah. Okay, so we'll let you know on Twitter, and yeah, I think that's it.
Yes. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Thanks, Kylie.
Bye.